but it's also, Chassidus explains, matik mesefer lesefer, that it is merely copying over from above to below. That he brings it down. He says, this is the union of atik. Shahu al yedei pnimius Abba. This comes from Abba, from Chochmah. Maamar azal yovi tev yikabel tev metev. As the Maamar azal in Menachos Mistamach, yovi tev should come good. V'yikabel tev metev. The yovi tev goes on Moshe Rabbeinu. When he was born, it says vateres ekitevu, and he should receive good from good. And you know, Teira, b'chulu. The Zeh Teira is considered Tev, kelekach Tev nasati lachem. The Zeh koi al gili pnimius atik al yedei pnimius Abba. This refers to the innermost of the attribute of atik as it comes down and it's channeled through pnimius Abba. Zeh ma shemamshech banor yaver v'rogel geimer. Now this is what it says, banor yaver v'rogel. There's two different things. There is one which is called Hafach Yam Liyabasha. This is one stage, in past tense, because this happened by Yam, by the split of the sea. The Mashakos of Hafach Yam Liyabasha, Koi ala Parsha sheben Atzilos lebiyah. When we say he split, he converted sea to land, to dry land, refers to the Parsa, to the curtain, to the restriction, concealment that took place between the world of Atzilus and Biyah, which means that Yam Suf took place on the level which is between Atzilus and Biyah. The Malchus, since over there's the attribute of Malchus royalty, Malchus itself has two levels, a level that's called sea and a level that's called land, dry land. And what happened was that the dry land is the lower level, the sea is the higher level, so it was revealed from the higher level to the lower level. This is on the level between Atzilus and Biyah. And that is why also it says, Pesach Hashem ala Pesach, that the Eibishter skipped over on the door. What is the door? The door is the union of Malchus. Malchus is the door opener to the lower worlds. It sends to the lower worlds. This is all Yam. Mashen kinor in yonehu aparsa sheben Atzilus ve'elam shelamaylam Atzilus. We speak about Nor, which is a river, the Euphrates. So this is already referring to a higher level. A revelation of splitting the curtain, which a curtain means dimming or concealing the revelation of that level. It is already referring to the higher level, the curtain that there is between Atzilus and higher than Atzilus. And as Chassidus explains, although here the Lashon is curtain, it's interesting. In other places, or maybe it could be that it doesn't contradict, but it basically, Chassidus explains that what kind of curtain is it, what kind of concealment. It is a concealment like a bunch of stones that have no sequence, no water, they're just piled up. Like we see by Lavan, that when Lavan said farewell, a party of Zevach, and Vayikra Mishpachte, Lebonov, they made a whole thing. What was it? It was Gal Shel Avonim, called it Galet. What does it mean when stones are all in one bunch? A stone is compared to a letter. When we say a stone, a few stones together, it says a few stones build a house, could start building a house, especially in this week's Parsha. That in this week's Parsha it says that at least a house has to have at least, that's the halach in Tzaras, has to have at least 8 stones. The corners, each one should have 2 from each side. And that's the union of 8. And a house has to have sand and stone, different things, and wood. So these are the 3 things that are connected with a house. So b'meila, what is the union of a stone? A few stones together build a whole bunch of stones make a house. A whole bunch of letters make words. So shtei eishes beinas avonim, shtei abonim, shtei batim. What b'meila? When we say that stones are not in the regular sequence, but they're just a bunch of stones, it is a concealment. It is not sending us any message. It's like words that are Scrabble. They're all together, and we have no idea what's going on over here. So there's no light passing through them and telling us what is going on over here. What's the inner light? What's the intention? What's the contents here? So that's what Hasidus says. The Tzimtzum, before the world of Atzilus, was compared to a bunch of stones that are not in the right sequence. Sometimes they're called Oisius Perches. There's a famous thing, Oisius Perches, flying letters. You have to figure out which letters you're picking and make a pattern from that. And therefore, this is considered a tzimtzum. So this is a milder tzimtzum, a milder restriction and concealment in comparison to the first tzimtzum that took place in the beginning of the creation. For the beginning, the tzimtzum arishan. Because this is already a tzimtzum that the light is there, but it's camouflaged, it's all scrabbled together that in order that it shouldn't come out with its fullest intensity. So this is going to be this split of the Euphrates. It's taking off also the concealment that is higher than Atzilus and the infinite worlds that are between Atzilus and, in other words, taking off the concealment between Atzilus and the infinite worlds higher than Atzilus. In more in detail, it is a curtain between Chochmah and Bina. Why is it that between Atzilus and the worlds higher than Atzilus is between Chochmah and Bina? Because actually Chochmah represents higher than Atzilus. In a certain sense, although it's the first one of the attributes, but together with that, it is something that brings out the ayin, the negativity, the negative being, the state of nullification. As it's mentioned in Tanya, in Perek Lamed Hey, the Rebbe says in chapter 35, that hu levadei hu ve'ein zulosei zui madreges ha'chochmah. That the idea, the ideology, the expression, that he and nothing else is represented, expressed in Chochmah. And that's why Chochmah is compared to Ayin, nullification. And Bina is compared to Yesh, to a being. And Chochmah and Bina together is a constant Ayin l'Yesh. And this is also the difference that by this own Teire Shmuel, from the Rebbe Marash Teire Shmuel, the fourth Rebbe of Chabad, says like this, that this is also the difference that Chochmah is connected with Shabbos, Bina is connected with Yom Tov. Because Eim Abonim Smecha, what's the main stress in Yom Tov? The union of joy. What's the main stress in Shabbos? Tainug. Ecstasy. So male ecstasy is something which is higher than Simcha. Because Simcha is something that reveals the person. Simcha Peiret together. When a person is joyful, joyous, he actually reveals himself. In other words, there's more revelations, he starts speaking, there's more in Yonah. Mashenkim, when we speak about Einek, Tainuk is something that is within himself. He's removed from everything around him and he's misanig in a special ecstasy. So therefore, when we say that La'asid Lavi, it'll be a higher level, it is between Atzilus and the higher worlds. In Spheres, in detail, the Rebbe says, this is between Chochmah and Bina. Through the breaking through this, splitting this curtain, by removing this curtain, so you are drawing down the revelation of Chochmah. How does it go? The Pnimius Abba, Pnimius Atik. The Pnimius of Chochmah goes together with the Pnimius of Keser.
What's Pnimius?
The innermost of Chochmah, the core of Chochmah, is connected with the core of Atik. And Memele, it's one direct thing, and Gili Pnimius Atik. There's a whole order from the Rebbe. I don't see they should mention it here. But there's an order from the Rebbe in the Friedrich Rebbe's Maamar, I think it's in 1940, 700, that the Friedrich Rebbe says it in the Maamar, and the Rebbe brings all the references and everything for this concept, principle. The Pnimius Abba is Pnimius Atik. Gili Pnimius Atik. So B'meila through Chochmah is revealed Atik. Valzer Nemar Yavru V'Berogel Daike. And therefore it says Yavru Beregel. What does it mean Yavru Beregel? It has to go through the legs. Legs of what? So the Rebbe says it goes through the legs of the Neshama. There are two levels to the Neshama. There's the head of the Neshama, there's the legs of the Neshama. The head of the Neshama is Chaya Yechida. These are the highest levels of the Neshama. And the Aveda of the head of the Neshama is Rosh Hashanah. That's the time a person brings out deeper keichas, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. As the Rebbe Rashab mentions in the Maamar in Nun Vav, Reish Nun Vav, over 100 years ago. Regel Sheben Neshama is the daily routine Aveda of a Yid. Every day, whatever he does, this is Regel Sheben Neshama. Sometimes it could be that he might have an awakening that comes from the head of the Neshama, but generally speaking, this is Regel Sheben Neshama, that's on a daily basis. The Rebbe says, why does it say Yavro V'Regel, that they will pass through it by foot? So the Rebbe says, because it also comes down in the regular, this revelation will come down in the legs of the neshama.